Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Today, I, along with my group members, will be discussing with you the decade-long rule of General Ziaul Haq and its impact on the Pakistan economy. Muhammad Ziaul Haq, born on August of 1924, was a Pakistani Chief of Army Staff, Chief Martial Law Administrator, and President of Pakistan. From 1977 to August 1988, General Ziaul Haq ruled Pakistan, which ended up being the longest rule by a single individual ever in Pakistan's 73 years of existence. Even though General Zia's dictatorial and authoritarian rule will always be remembered for the great damage that it did to Pakistan's society and its values, the effects of which can be seen even after over 3 decades, we're going to begin by discussing the nature and extent of growth that Pakistan's economy experienced during the Zia era. As summarized by economist Akbar Noman, in this period, Pakistan's GDP growth rate was pretty impressive, around 66.5%, and it was only exceeded by countries like China, Korea, and Hong Kong. Real wages improved and poverty tended to decline. Also, in the fifth and sixth five-year plans, which were from the year 1978 to 1983 and then 83 to 88 respectively, the actual growth rates basically exceeded from their targets, which were around 12 and 9% respectively. Regardless of all that, it is important to note that the total factor productivity growth rate figures, as you can see in the first two tables, painted a completely different picture altogether. Total factor productivity was actually low during this time. Around almost 82% of the overall growth was due to the growth in capital stock. Next to that was labor, and only 3% was actually total factor productivity. Another thing to note is that even though there was a boom in industries like the manufacturing industry, growth in labor and unemployment and employment basically still remained insignificant. This was largely due to the manufacturing sector becoming far more capital extensive as compared to previously. To shine some more light on the industrial policy, Amna will proceed with the presentation.
In the military government of General Zia, he made the decision that the private sector was to play a leading role in the industrial sector. His initial steps included the satisfaction of the private sectors and denationalization of a number of agro-based industries, which included rice, flour, and cotton, which were inefficiently run. By December 1977, a number of basic and heavy chemical and cement industries were opened to the private sector and were given further incentives such as tax holidays, etc., which were assumed to increase the industrial activity. Attempts were made by the new government to ease the economic controls and regulations, which included the procedure for sanctions of private sector investment. The interest rate on fixed investment in agriculture and industry was also reduced. It was reported that with a change in the government in 1977 came a change in the industrial policy. The new government reinstated a 5-year plan, after which the second 5-year plan was implemented from 1960 to 65, which was a success. However, the third was handicapped by a cut in foreign aid. The investment of the fifth 5-year plan gave importance to the producer and investment good industries based on local raw materials next in line. Apart from bringing the private sector back, the stress on the use of local raw materials in industry was also seen as important to revive the performance of the agriculture sector. Growth in large-scale manufacturing was projected at a highly ambiguous rate of 12% per annum, which was achieved. The policy measure which distinguished Zia's regime from others before him was Islamization. He made it his mission to free the society from all evils ingrained in it. Local bodies government system was introduced by General Zia. It was the most representative in nature since independence. It provided representation for women, peasant workers in the council. Moreover, it also provided reserved seats in minorities. Now Shafaq will continue.
Initially, when Zia came to power, people thought that there would be denationalization throughout. However, that wasn't the case. Under Bhutto's government, the public sector was dominating development in industries while private sector had little role, and this proportion didn't change much initially in Zia's regime too. Government did give the clarity that it expected growth in the future coming from the involvement of private sector. An Asian Development Bank in one of its reports backed Zia. It basically said that since the existing public sector was quite large, the employing over 50,000 persons in a massive investment plan of rupees 40 billion was underway. It was apparent to the government that going through with denationalization wouldn't be a smart move at the time. Therefore, the transition from public to private sector domination was a gradual one. A study by the Institute of Developing Economies in Japan provided a more relevant and interesting approach explaining the action of Zia's government. It said, and I quote, in contrast to its rhetoric against the Bhutto's government's economic agenda, Zia's government was hoping to reap the rewards from investments made by the previous regime. Even though there was much dislike for Bhutto's economic policies by the Zia's government, it still took a politically clever and practical approach by not denationalizing as soon as it came into power. The public to private sector shift wasn't a quick one, however, things were gradually changing. As the table clarifies, the share of investments by public sector toward industrial sector fell from as much as 72% in 1978 to 9 to as little as less than 18% over 10 years. There were incentives provided to private sector to encourage enhancing its role, which it did. Regulations like investments, increase in investment size of industrial unit were removed, and this caused a sharp rise in private sector investment, which grew by 90% in 1980s as compared to 25% 1976 to 1977. However, the government still very smartly kept control of public sector industries, and especially the financial sector, including banks, as it knew that that was valuable for providing favors, keeping control, and showing power. Moving on to deregulation and liberalization. From the years 1983 to 1988, the process of deregulation and liberalization began. The sixth five-year plan is analyzed as Zia's government's withdrawal from its previous policies. Some of the significant changes were export-led industrialization, that becoming a policy for the first time, increase in investment sanction limit, reduction of tariffs, introduction of three-year liberal trade policy. Along with this, foreign trade was encouraged. A negative list was introduced. Anything not on the list was allowed to be imported or exported, which wasn't the case before in 1983, when there were comparatively fewer items allowed to be traded. According to all the major researchers on Zia's regime, the most significant economic decision by the government was to remove the fixed peg of rupee to the dollar by introducing a managed float of the currency. The World Bank was pleased by the results of deregulation and liberalization, as it argued it brought major private industrial investment. To be specific, the share of private investment increased to about 72% of the total investments during the fiscal year 1984 to 87. World Bank further clarified that this was only possible because the role of public sector was restricted to completing ongoing projects and taking care of existing plans. Over to Kanza.
The Pakistani economy under Zia benefited from a number of special factors, both domestic and external. High domestic demand for goods and services and high investment demand were the two main causes of growth during Zia's era. A tremendous boost to economic activity was provided by the rising worker remittances, which rose to a peak of $3 billion in 1982 to 1983. These remittances were equivalent to 10% of the gross national product of Pakistan. Most of the remittances were directed to consumption, and this played a major role in reducing poverty. In some ways, particularly, the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan and the high Gulf remittances helped generate Zia's economy. Zia also successfully negotiated with the USA for larger external assistance. Contribution of foreign resource inflows was an important source of assistance and helped finance industrial investment. Economic growth averaged 7% per annum between 1978 and 1986 due to strong expansion in manufacturing. In addition to direct assistance to Pakistan, the United States and allies funneled about 5 to 7 billion US dollars to the Afghan Mujahideens through Pakistan, providing further boost to the local economy. US dollars helped maintain the macroeconomic stability and promoted high growth rate of GDP. Similarly, the narcotic trade, which gathered momentum in the 1980s, strongly supported the service sector of the economy. According to the Institute of Developing Economy study, the manufacturing sector in Pakistan has recorded impressive growth rates during the 1977 to 88 period. The principal reason for this performance has been a result of the two important phenomena. First, the coming on stream of the public sector provided requisite diversity in the manufacturing sector. This resulted in the once and for all gains that such large investments are expected to bring in. Second, the revival of confidence in the private sector to invest in industry, once again after the brief interlude of Bhutto regime. Some of the problems during Zia's era were high dependence on foreign inflows, high output but no improvement in efficiency. The growth was mainly as a result of external condition, failure of implementation of policy, high drug trafficking and smuggling. Zia's rule is the strongest rule ever by a single individual in Pakistan. He never let go of the reins of the power until he was killed in a plane crash. Although his death brought the end to his rule, much of his legacy still had a strong impact on the political and economic developments in Pakistan for some years.